Okay, folks, good morning. So here we are going to work on our next build here. And yeah, so anyways, this is, I guess, a little emergency vehicle theme. Not really, just working on some larger vehicles. All right, let's see what we got here in the weapons. We already got the main weapons on this thing that I specifically, I build things how I like to build them, and that is I come up with an idea and a name. I usually come up with a name first. In this case, I'm like, I gotta have a vehicle named Guns and Hoses. That just makes sense to me. So it's got to be some kind of a fire truck. And I had two to choose from, and one of them had a ladder. Similar shaped vehicles. One of them had a ladder, and this one actually had a hose at the end of a, which I wasn't really going to use for anything other than just aesthetic. But then I come to look at it, I'm like, you know what? We'll make that a turreted flamethrower, because that's the irony that I like in my vehicles is all the fire trucks are actually flamethrowers. They don't hose things with water. But this one's definitely, it's going to have a turreted flamethrower, and it's going to have a minigun that's going to sit under the chin here. And mainly because there's this empty space down here, I didn't want to really give it a ram. And it was difficult to find a place up here to really put the gun without modifying any parts of the die cast. I don't really want to cut into the die cast. That takes a lot of time and effort. So we're going to go through the parts bags that we just got here, and maybe put some of those masala type tire enhancements on them, because I don't really like the look of these tires. You know, they're a little too, they don't go with the ruggedness of the vehicle. And I know I have some that I just got recently. So let's just look through here and see, these are not any of these things, right? This is wings. No, we don't need to put a wing on this vehicle. Good morning. What is, oh, okay, this is like a little turret dropper launcher. That's kind of cool. Oh, you know, one thing is you can't use all this cool stuff on one vehicle. You need to leave it for other ones. So we have lots and lots and lots of builds coming up. How's my day going? Well, it's just getting started, man. How are you doing? It's going to be a day not going into the office, so that is a good day indeed. Okay, it's in the big bits bin, and these are bits from Ugly Hero Studios. No, Creepy Hero Studios. Creepy. Let's see what we have here. We got some tank tracks coming up soon. Got something exciting with that. That's a hatch. Oh, these are already built on the tire. Shit. That's unfortunate. I thought they were separate. Damn it, man. Well, I could glue these tires on here outside the other tires. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. Obviously, we can't remove these tires. These would be very, very small. I'm not sure I want to do that. What about these spiky things? Well, these don't really have the right shape for that to be able to fit in there. Again, not really the right shape. I just figured I'd look in here. Maybe there might be something cool to enhance it. If not, we'll put some armor plates or something on it. I don't think at this time. I thought they were just the actual covers. I didn't realize that they came on the tire. This was just a big bits box. Okay. No harm, no foul. No. Hold on a second here. November rain. 40-year-old navigating life while judging Lego pieces without thinking about the future. Well, nothing wrong with that. Legos are really interesting. I grew up playing Legos, but I had Legos that I didn't have all the custom pieces that they have available now. You know, we had little mini figurines. The only ones we had, and this is like in the late 70s, we had the astronauts, had 4 of them, right? One that came in a red suit, a white one, a yellow one, and a blue one. That was it. And astronauts, and it had like police officers. They might have made like firemen as well. You just switch out their helmet. That was it. We didn't have any other, all the fancy bits. There weren't any theme things. Of course, Legos are pretty expensive. The one thing about Legos is that it's very difficult to unsee things that, you know, the tops of them, they're if you look at them, they're jagged, right? And once you see that, you can't unsee it. I don't have any Legos except 3 of their Heroica games. I got them for when my daughter was about 10, and we played them quite a bit. I still have them. I didn't really, you know, Lego pulled another one of those Games Workshop things where it's like, oh, we're not going to make this stuff anymore. So I'm holding on to them, not because I think that they're any value in the future, but I don't really want to get rid of them. But yeah, I got 3 of the Heroica, the base one, and then I've got one that's like a vampire one, and then one that's like Docs or something like that. I think they made like 2 more. And they come with like a little Lego dice. We played it quite a bit. Probably actually be a decent game if you could make your own rules for it, which I guess would be all right. All right. We need to go and grab something that I should have brought in here. Be right back. All right. Do I play Fortnite? No. I have. I remember when Fortnite was announced. They announced it like it was a zombie game. At least that's what I thought. They announced it like it was a zombie game, a co-op zombie game with, you know, this cartoon-like graphics. And I liked the way the graphics looked, at least in the advertising. And I'm like, okay, I'll play this. And then come to find out it didn't say anything about this whole climb up a ladder and build shit as you go. And which I wouldn't play that. I've tried playing it. I don't like the idea that the arena gets smaller over time. It's extremely stressful for those of us that have stressful jobs already. But I don't play those kind of games where it's like people versus you're attacking people and stuff like that. Fortnite's too easy to me. The plot just doesn't interest me. You know, and I've done a lot of shooters, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do shooters anymore. You know, the only shooter I'm still kind of playing occasionally is Borderlands. But I don't really want to play with random people that are just going to quit. Anytime I get on the console, I don't have volume on. I don't want to listen to, somebody that's 4 foot tall with an 8 foot mouth. Like, so as a matter of fact, I have not been playing much video games at all lately. I've been building this stuff. Because video games can be fun, but they can also be frustrating. And this is the anti-frustrating thing. So just cleaning some of this 3D stuff on, and this is going to go under the chin here. I didn't even take this vehicle apart. There was no point in doing that. It's solid windows. There's no interior. I'm going to go ahead and glue this before I prime it. Now this is removable. We're going to use traditional super glue for this. And hopefully I don't regret it. Wherever the heck it is. And there's the problem with super glue. It's glued before you line it. I got the slower one. I can just pop this thing off, but it's off ever so slightly, and it's in the direction of the passenger, so I'm actually okay with it. Man, it seems to be really secure, so that's a big plus. I'm going to leave it where it is. It's just off a tiny little bit. I actually kind of like it. It's off a little bit towards, to compensate there being a driver for it. Okay. Well, if it's glued, then we can prime the son of a bitch. Now, I went ahead and already gave this a clear coat. It's got a clear, you could tell on the windows, it's kind of dull. And this as well, so that the wash will stick to it. So we're going to prime this, and then we're going to flip it over and wash it. We might have to wait a little bit here for it. All right, so let's get, let me use one of these that already has a splotch on it. We're going to use this clear one for something else. And let's remove any of this excess primer that we have on here. So we have a good seal. Excess dried primer, I should say. And remove that as well. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Now we got a good seal on it. A brush that if we rub up against that super glue, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I'm going to prime the minigun. It's a forward-firing minigun and a turreted flamethrower. And this looks like it'd be really front heavy, and it's not, oddly enough. Now, I wasn't going to actually paint this. I mean, I was going to weather this. I don't think I'm going to paint it black. I think we're going to just leave it the silver color. And let's get good old strong tone out here. Not dark tone, strong tone. Trying to see if one of them is almost dead. This one. Let's finish some of these bottles. I play football. No, I don't play rugby either. Or soccer. We're talking about video games. I do like those Madden type games, although anybody who is a football fan can't play those football games. They always play them extremely unrealistic. I'm like, I thought you were the one that's supposed to know about all this stuff. I don't watch sports because, you know, you're just sitting there watching. But I don't mind playing the sports games. Oh, they all seem to have like gimmicks where you can like come up with ridiculous scores or something like that. I remember way back in the day, we had a Sega Genesis League. I didn't have a Sega Genesis, but I had a friend of mine who had one, and we played a hockey season on it. This would have been like 1992, 93 or something like that. That was kind of fun until everybody turned in their scores. And some people had a game that was like 47 to 45. Like, okay, obviously you know a gimmick in the game. Great, I got some of the primer on me. All right, well, let's see if we can hold it in a different way. Yeah, make those little details pop out. There's all this like diamond plate. On a side note, I never really liked Guns N' Roses. But that's irrelevant of the game and irrelevant of the name. Big difference there. It just takes a little bit of time. We'll apply the wash to this, and if we like it, we'll stick with it. If not, we'll prime it black and go from there. But the problem with priming it black is it's not as fun to weather. If you do in these areas that are mostly smooth, this stuff works better if you thin it down a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to try to pool in places that there's nothing for it to pool in, and it looks odd. I picked this up several months ago at the vintage toy store. City of Hot Wheels Fire Department. That's what it says on it. You can barely read the City of Hot Wheels. We'll leave it be. I guess you can make a whole team of fire trucks, of emergency fire vehicles. I'd probably call them hot shots or something. But I only own 3. A fire chief's car, this particular fire truck, and one that's actually white with a ladder on it. In an exaggerated scale, like this is an exaggerated scale. This isn't 1/64th. This is whatever you freaking feel like at scale. Man, we got that gas hole built quick yesterday. I had no intention to even work on that when I started my feed yesterday. It just kind of happened. Freebie. I actually wanted to do this with no flamethrower. I wanted to just do guns on it. But there just weren't enough spaces on it. It's just so funky shaped. I mean, it makes it interesting, but it's difficult to get guns mounted in the right place on this and still maintain this, turret type thing. All right, I think I can use helping hands for this. We'll move this off to the side. Get the helping hands. and give this a once over. We're definitely going to need more of this. So I was just trying to think, have I ever worked on Thanksgiving? You know, because I've had retail jobs. I've had retails like, man, you brag about never working on a Saturday, and we have to work on a Saturday. I've worked on a Saturday before, back when I worked at a job that didn't pay well. You know, retail. No, retail's all right. There's nothing wrong with retail other than the fact that it doesn't pay anything. You know, I got too much overhead for retail, but you know, actually, when I worked on Saturdays, I worked at a job I liked. It didn't pay worth a damn, but I didn't mind going in and work on Saturdays. I also didn't work during the week, so welcome. We're gonna paint this hose. Looks like this hose like goes in between, in and out of this crane. Not really, they call it crane, whatever the hell this thing is. Yeah, I think this looks good with the brown wash. Look better once we paint this. We'll paint the nozzle, maybe a different color. Oh, that's right. This is a flamethrower, so the nozzle will have to be black. A turreted flamethrower. It's a shame the flamethrower uses 2 build slots. Well, this is only a second vehicle that I have that has a flamethrower. Second or third? Third, maybe. What did I just do recently that had a flamethrower? Oh yeah, the gas hole yesterday. Jeez, talk about short-term memory. I painted it so quick, like I erased it from my memory. I didn't mean it to go that quick. It just kind of happened. A kid's toy. By the way, I always like to talk about what this is. 1988 Malaysia Hot Wheels. And I don't know where it came from because I bought it off of I got it out of a bag that just, a bin that had all kinds of loose toys. I'm gonna film a video next time I go down to that place. Some of you guys may like it. Well, I'll ask the owner if he minds. You know, I don't want to be just like barge into somebody's house and turn the camera on. You know. But I asked him, I said, do you do any online sales or anything? Because I got a YouTube channel and you have a cool store. I don't. He's like, no, I don't really do anything online. I'm like, well, only reason to film and just show you guys a cool factor of the place. Vintage Toy King is the name of the establishment. Okay, I think that's good enough. And it looks like, honestly, it looks like oily steel, which is like, you know, kind of like what I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and paint these hubcaps. Even if it doesn't really matter. We're going to cover it over with, but and then we're going to go make some enhancements for this thing, make it look more apocalyptic. And again, this is probably not real firefighters. It's probably people pretending to be real firefighters. Just like my cops are not really cops. They're people that commandeer cop cars and make everybody else want to think that they're cops, but they really aren't. Okay. So, we have a front plate here that I was cutting for another vehicle. I could put it to use for this. Because this has a big clear window, not very useful in a race like that. And I actually took the time this morning while I was having breakfast, reading the other type of game types that there are for Gaslands, other than Death Race, which I've only played Death Race. And I was disappointed to find out all the other game types seem lame, in my opinion. You know, so that doesn't mean we won't try them, but might be a reason to come up with your own game types. All right. Let's use this. I'm going to use a new blade for this. We have a zillion of these, so. And then in typical fashion, as I like to do, I come up with the names of things before I even build them. Generally, there's been exceptions, but certainly by the time it's done, I have a name for it. Not like, hey, I built this really cool thing, but I don't know what to name it. Like, I don't want input from other people. I'm the one that built it. I get to name it. Damn it. That's one of the funnest things to do. If there's one thing I don't enjoy doing, it's tearing them apart. I like seeing what's inside, but get my pencil on here. And actually, let me get the cutting, not the cutting board, but something a little bit more, something hard. Cutting board's actually soft. That way you can cut against this thing and all right, see how the fit and finish is on here. Okay, this one can be cut from this corner down to there. Yeah, it cuts like a breeze on here. Ah! perfect. Just make the bottom of it straight. Perfect. Let's cut this slot. Well, it's just actually a slot, it's just fine. The only problem with materials like this is you can't scrape them. For whatever reason, and I wish I could get a microscope and find out exactly what's going on, but if you take something that's soft plastic or something like that, like this, bendy, if you try to scrape it, it gets furry. Best way to describe it. And I'd like to know exactly what it is that's going on. Okay, so this is like an armor plate here for the front. Nothing wrong there. Let me try my luck with that. And use the old blade to, this is the damn ultra thin. Let's sacrifice one. Nope, not that one. Let's sacrifice this. Use it like weld cement, except it doesn't weld. Okay, now we have a front of that. Of course, it looks like an eyesore because it's a different color. All right, the sides. Let's move this away. This material cuts really easily. Unfortunately, it's pretty slick. Probably the only downside it has. And it's just the top of a plastic container, that's all it is. I don't really like to use, well, blue's probably not the best idea considering it's blue on the bottom side. Oh, that's not it. Damn, if I'll be damned if that's not the right angle. All right, let's cut across the top of this and then we'll make another one just like it. Again, if you screw up, you know, it's like this material is damn near free. I mean, it cuts so easy. We got one plate that fits all the way across it like that. Now I'll probably subdivide this in little things, but this is basically the shape of what we're knocking out. So I'm gonna take another one like this and we're gonna make a copy of it. Well, let's make sure it fits, first of all. It should. It does. All right, except I want to make a mirror image of it so that I don't have these graphics on the outside. It's just easier to prime, not having to deal with that. So instead of making it like this, we're going to make it like this. And it's probably going to be a little larger than we want it to be. But that's okay because we can cut it down. Okay. Now we have a copy and hopefully we did that correctly. Make sure we're like at 90 degrees. Oh, this one's significantly longer. Well, I like it the length of this one I just cut. So we'll trim the other one down. We got one there. And then one over here. Now this one has a tiny little end trimmed off. I'm going to do the same thing with this one so they look appropriate. And I'm going to take some of the, let's see, this is going to rest on there. I'm going to take some of the height of this off. Just a little sliver. Okay, I like how that is. And do the same thing with the top here. Okay, So now we have these two sides that we can glue this and provide some protection to the maniac that's inside. Maniacs. That's how it's going to go. We're going to make this just a tiny little bit smaller so we have a little bit of a gap here in between them. And if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. Where we have a two-part thing like this. I'm going to go ahead and glue. Let's see how this thing held up. Man, I think we can get by with that. This might be the way to deal with this stuff. This is so damn watery. This ultra thin. What the hell is it called? Ultra liquid control. It's more like ultra liquid out of control. And then we're going to put like a little door in there, like a little latch they can open, and like a pistol port type of thing. And then this one goes over here with a little bit of a gap between them. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place it where I want it to be. And then we're going to dribble this stuff in. Okay. Really pretty simple. I think I finally found a way to use this liquid control stuff. Good, because I like 3 bottles of it. Like I buy them multi-packs, and half of them that come in would be this stuff. And I'm like, I don't have a use for that. Now I do. All right, so we're going to come over here. We're going to put a mark here where the door splits. Let's move this off to the side. We'll cut us a vertical. And I'm doing all this. It allows time for this wash to dry, which is dry now, but. Significantly wider. Let's take some of this off. And we're going to take a little bit off of this edge. Okay, now this should fit on. How we want it to. Put this how I'd like it. Like so. That's the problem I had with it. I was being patient and still wasn't coming up. It was still coming up empty on it. Okay, so what we need to do is it's a little rhomboid here. Let's see if that fixes it. Yep. We'll come over here, get this where we want it. Oh, still early. Good. All right, so now we have a little bit of protection there for the crew. I don't see anywhere else that we definitely want to keep the fire department on there. That's the whole point. So look, man, these wheels really just, I mean, I probably can push them and get them to rotate again, but they're solid enough on there. All right, let's make some armor enhancements here. Now that we're really happy. Now, if weld cement worked with this material, I'd be so happy, but it does not. It's very resistant. It's very oily. Has a lot of petroleum-like stuff to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some little doors that are potentially pistol ports. So let's cut. This one looks pretty straight. Let's cut something like that. I haven't done this a lot, but I've been pretty happy with how it turned out. All right, so this one is a little bit bigger. We're going to use this for the larger side door. This one's a little bit smaller for the smaller side door. Okay, we're going to split that in different pieces. And then in the one in the front, we're going to do one that's bigger. Like, say like this. At least one of the dimensions will be that size. Right? All right, let's split this in half. Thereabouts. Okay? And kind of measure that this one's a little smaller. It's just cut a little bit off. It's going to be on opposite sides, so it's not going to be that noticeable. Okay, those two are about the same size. We're going to take this one, we're going to cut this one in half also. Thereabouts. I'm totally winging this. This is kind of how I like to operate. The only thing that's planned is the weapons on this vehicle. I don't want to like build all those weapons like, oh shit, it can only have a flamethrower and a chain gun. I got these 4 other guns. Well, they're just for looks. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay. Now, if we take one of these larger ones, now I'm going to switch super glues. I'm going to switch to the super glue that's thicker and it's repositionable. Because I would put markings on here, but the problem is believe it or not, the marker doesn't work well on this surface. It'll actually smear off. So then you have a mess on your hands. And this just doesn't adhere really well. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get it close and we're going to maneuver it around. Okay, so am I fine with this rectangular shape? Probably. Something like that. And then this other one will go behind it. Learning a new skill here. I've done some of this, but probably not as much as what I'm doing right here. And it's pretty satisfying to make something out of nothing. All right, so I think we're going to put a drop of this stuff. All right, we got that one in the center. We'll have this one not at the center. And this gives you some working time. Now, I don't think I'm going to screw myself. Let me rethink that. I have lots of brushes here that I need to throw away anyways. That have outlasted their welcome. So I'm going to put a little drop here. And we might actually use the thin cement after we get it, or the thin super glue after we get it where we want to. But this stuff gives me about 5 minutes to work with. I bought some tweezers that had the little rubber tips. Had no luck with them. Don't be moving on me. Don't you be moving. All right. So we got it there in position. And then just one drop just to kind of, hold it in place. And then do the same thing here with this smaller one. Okay, so we have these two little ports like that. Now we're going to go to the side. We'll do the same thing on this side as well. And it's kind of hard to see if it's going to turn out well at this point. You just have to kind of go with faith. I've done this several times, and something that looks kind of rough ends up looking okay. You're really distracted by that stark white of it. The whiteness of it. So it's about in the middle. Put it right there. And do the same thing with the one behind it. And if you go in evergreen and get the evergreen stuff, the evergreen doesn't stick to itself like if it would with weld cement. If it did, I would be a huge fan. It's the same stuff, except this only comes in whatever thickness this is. This happens to be a cottage cheese container. I go through a lot. I go through one of those every other day. So I got unlimited building materials, basically. If I can make it out of this stuff, and it's the right thickness for armor plate for this scale. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. Now we need to put something up here. We might make it a little fancy. How's everybody doing this morning? Watchers and no commenters. Commenters. Commentationary. I should just stop. Okay, that is a little trapezoidally. Let's cut a little bit off this. I didn't realize it. I basically got 2 vehicles done yesterday, and that wasn't any part of the 4-day weekend. So we're off to a good start. We should get quite a few things done this long weekend. Not that I'm really in a hurry to get any of them done. Just catching up a bit on the stream. And your lunch. You have to work today? Oh, it's a work day for you. Haha. guys get 1,000,000 days off. Mitch gets like, I think 3 times more days off than I do. I'm sure you get a lot. I'm sure on your first day at work, you got more days off than I did, but days off are just a pain in the ass for me. Not because there's hell waiting for me at home. It's just, there's hell waiting for me when I come back. If everything gone to hell. I got no problems at home. Even if I didn't do this. Okay. Let's make this thing's huge. Let's take 3/4 of it off. Let's take 1/4 of it off. Okay. And of course, it's trapezoidal a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, this is made in some weld shop by a criminal. Really glad I didn't make any typos on a few words there. Uh-oh. What did you come close to saying? Not that it would offend me. You know that. Uh-oh. Go be Mitch's apprentice and reap the extra holidays. Reap the extra holes. No. Nah, he's got to wear a hairnet at work. Fuck that. I'm just tired of fixing other people's problems all the time. And they just don't learn. All right, let's cut these corners here. Let's cut this corner here. We're going to leave the top as is. We're going to make this look kind of like a T-34 hatch. Kind of. So there's Russians inside. No, not really, but okay. And we're going to take a little bit. I'm really turning a corner on this super glue. By the way, this morning is a super glue. What's the name for it? Revival here. We're going to put some of this in the middle. I'm going to come over here. I can't be Mitch's apprentice. He can't afford me. You want to talk about somebody that has zero motivation to do anything creative? That's him. Hey, why don't you paint? Nope, I don't paint. I don't do that. I'm like, holy shit, man. Like, you think you'd ask me to write poetry or something like that? Nope, I don't read the rules. He doesn't read rules either. Like, yeah, I should be nefarious and just like fuck with them and like make rules up. Like, oh, you've been playing them wrong the whole time. You didn't know. I don't have that in me. Okay, so now we've got this thing up here. So I'm gonna put something at the top that's either looks like it is a screen for the rain or hinges and or both. So we already have these pieces that are kind of cut small. Yikes. So we're going to cut some of it off that we know is going to be too long for it. Okay, I still would like to make that a little shorter. Just a smidge. That's probably it right there. I do like the tweezer work. I do enjoy the tweezering. There we go. Look at that. Look at this, man. And again, I say it, and my wife says I shouldn't say this. I said, man, anybody can do this. But I have a lot of I got a lot of self-confidence when it comes to a lot of this hobby stuff. I mean, I've had so many wins that like I have confidence in this. And not in everything I do, but this, yeah. Oh, don't be a dick, don't be a dick, don't be a dick. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. We're still learning, we're still learning. Let's put a little dab here in the middle to hold it in place. Okay, and then we're going to come over here. And then we're going to have it even, and then we will scooch it down. But actually, I want it away from this just a little bit. So when we add that little dribble, of that black lining, it'll fit in. Now, we'll take this and we will hold it in place with that. I'm glad I finally found a use for this liquid control stuff. I'm really happy. I mean, it's sitting here just like not doing anything. I mean, I got that one and like 2 other bottles of it. I mean, I got to sacrifice a paintbrush. I think I can afford that. Your day off. Happy Thanksgiving. You too, man. You should say that you identify as an American and you have to have the day off. But then you'd probably get stuck eating turkey, so you're probably better off not saying that. I'd rather have fish and chips. Not a turkey fan. But we're not having traditional food today. Okay. So now we have, look at this shit. It's easy to do. It just takes some time. Oh, I need to get you guys a little bit more light. Here we go. Here we go. All right. We're not done yet. We can do better than that. You can add a little bit more flair. We're going to do the same thing with this and glue this above so we have a little bit of a rain guard. And the hardest thing about this is fiddling with the glue. If we were using like weld cement, this would be like a breeze. Cut this down a little bit more. And you're just making this out of nothing. This is like free materials. Now, it takes time, and some people may not want to do that, but it's better than surfing on your damn phone. So the top edge, I don't know if you guys can see this, right? We don't do everything perfectly here. But the top edge is a little burgered up. It's not completely straight. It's close. And it would be fine, because this is being made in a weld shop by a bunch of criminals. But we have an opportunity to straighten that out. So we're going to take a little bit of this. We're kind of using the cement that is, what do we call this? The repositionable gel, kind of like white tack. So we're putting a little piece of the white tack here. We know we can move it around. If we need to. Because some people say, man, I don't have the patience for that. What I don't have the patience, what I can't handle is being rushed, right? Like, if I'm not in a hurry, just repositional gel, you have probably about 5 minutes, which is plenty of time. And we just developed a new skill this morning, and that's using these super glues together with the help of a paintbrush. Look at this. There we go. Outstanding. Out-freaking-standing. These Gasland builds have been great for me because every time I do one, I get even more excited to do the next one. And I think it's because there's so many different things I can do. It's not like, okay, I'm not knocking World War II stuff at all, but you know, I can't paint a tank pink. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to, right? Here, I could. So, there's a lot of variations in color and stuff. And I don't get to name the tanks whatever the heck I want. Well, I can give them nicknames or something like that. But all right, let's do the same thing with these little sliver of things. So I'm going to come in here and try to do a really thin piece. And I wish I could measure this, but you're just in your own way when you're going to measure things. Let's try this. Okay. We want this small. I don't think I can get two out of this. So let's make a few of these. Try to make them the same thickness. And I can't really make them longer because the blade's not longer. And it'll take two cuts and you'll end up being, instead of being straight across, it'll be crimped a little bit. Not a problem. Totally worth the time investment. Totally worth the time investment. Oh, yeah. Run a bloody tear. Is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing in Britain? Sounds like a good thing to me. We are on a tear. One more. One more like that. Is this one long enough to do? I think it is. I think it is. I'm just going to cut a sliver out of it. And there's something to be said for free materials. It's peace of mind. Oh man, if I screw it up, just cut another one. I don't have an agenda that I don't even have to get this guy done today. I'd like to, and it's likely to happen. These tweezers are great. And they're also like unaffordable to buy another one. They hand me down tweezers from my dad, and I think a new pair would cost like $50. These you can buy cheaper tweezers, but now I'm going to put these on the top. Let's see how this works. Let's try something slightly different. Okay, well. A little smaller. Let's remove this. This is just in the way for the time being. That one's where it needs to be. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and install that one. A little bit of super glue tack. And we're not going to put it above it. We're going to actually put it on the top row of this. So that it looks like this. Okay, it's easy. I'm not. Look, and I found the piece that fell. I'm not a genius or anything. This is just. I'm just patient, and the glue's behaving. You know, you start getting this runaway glue, and it's a problem. Now, when we're done with that, we'll run this the thin one across the top of it, because it's so thin it gets in between everything. All right, so same thing on this back one. Well, let's just do. Let's see if this one is cut close to size that we need on this one. It's a little bit too long, so we'll just take a little bit. Okay, that's the size it needs to be. Come over here with the repositionable gel. And that one sits on top like that. And the other thing that's really cool about this hobby is, about the Gaslands stuff, is you can make things out of just like garbage. Like you can see like, hey, what the hell is this? I don't know, but put it back here. You know, like it might work. Well, not in every case, but there's many things that would work. All right, so let's take a look at this little guy here, which is the same thing for the back one. I'm going to take about that much off. Well, the whole secret is don't take too much off, and then you waste that little piece. Watch me have committed that crime right there. Yep. You're a moron. You should listen to your own advice. Okay, there's no way that's too short. Yeah, no. I'm sure I'll find a use for these little bits. And the thing about it is I could probably have been doing this if I was we don't need that. I don't even know what it is. I'm fine with people typing in other languages, but Obviously, you're spamming, comrade. Okay. And we will add a little bit of tack here. Well, that's cool because now I've found a use for all the glues. Okay. And then the same thing on the one back here. Perfect. And then we're going to go and add the thin glue on all these and seal them all up from the top. Yeah, I don't mind this being patient, and I don't mind the tweezer work. What I mind is, hurry, put it on, it's trying, like, no, I don't need that shit in my life. Okay, now, are we happy with whatever's going on here? It just seems like a big hatch. I think I'm going to put a smaller hatch in the middle of it, like a little opening there. It didn't cost me anything. I'll grab one of these pieces here. This size is probably fine. Let's just square it up. Okay, so we have these little ledges. We have a couple little parts on here to add this ultra thin cement. Let's make sure that we don't have anything keeping it from being extra thick. This thing loosen up. That thing used to never happen. These X-Acto knives loosening up in the middle of use. This is still thin. So we're just going to put some across the top of that. Across the top of that. Okay, so now we have created something that actually looks like it's protective. Instead of just putting plates up there, something is protective. It took a little bit of time. Well worth it. And maybe somebody's already done this before, but I didn't watch their video. Okay. That's the fucking perb. Now, the only bad thing is we got to wait a little bit we can't just go in there and prime it black, which is what we're going to do. We're going to prime all that black, and then it'll look even better. Right now, it's just, you've got this eyesore of different colors on here. It don't make any sense. I think I've earned a Coke. I'll be right back. All right. Fabulous. And there's no lights and a little grill and everything down there. We'll paint those little lights in the grill. They're taillights? No. Damn it. Well, they just be red. So. All right. Let's set this off to the side. And we're using this for glue. Let's keep this here. That worked really well. Well, as soon as I start painting it comes off and the pieces fall apart. And then I might have a different opinion. This stuff is very slick. Has a lot of petroleumness to it. And it doesn't like things don't like to glue to it. Okay. The whole point is you got to make every vehicle exciting to look at. And you can't be like, oh, that one looks like shit. That one looks like shit. Oh, I like that one, but I don't like the other ones. And right now, I'm not really liking these hubcaps that are on here. Might look okay when it's weathered. Might look okay when it's weathered. All right, let's get a brush that's kind of small and some primer. And we're gonna prime this hose and the nozzle of this flamethrower and some other things that we know are black. Now let's keep this over here. Let's grab any other one that I have, including potentially a new one, which I should have a stash over here. Could and do are two different things. We'll use the top of this. All right, let's use a brush that's relatively small, but if something goes sideways on it, I'm all right with it. I'm going to keep this on here. That allows me to move it around. So we have this hose that goes in and out of this bracket. And this is a freaking kid's toy, and it's got reasonable detail. Let me rephrase that. It's got really good detail. Just like those plastic dinosaurs I was talking about. You know, those plastic toy dinosaurs, actually, some of them look pretty damn good. You just got to repaint them. And then from this angle, like that, and that. Okay. No other hose part here, but this looks like something that's probably should be black. And the little hose attaches in through here. And this will be black. And this tip will be black as well. Okay, so that's it for that part. Now, let's move on to, we already primed the minigun, but somehow one little barrel did not get black inside of it, so we've gotten that taken care of. Now, let's go on to these plates that we just put on. Let's just put lots of paint on here. Okay, this is self-leveling, and dab it on these areas that might still have super glue that's alive. It's not going to stay black, it's just priming. And if you've got like a slick surface, kind of like this plastic, that you need to prime, and you're like, man, every time I prime it, I'm wiping the paint off, then just kind of stipple it. And I found that that works pretty well. I need to switch this out. Is there anything left here? Not anymore. Yeah, the other fire vehicle I have is actually white. It's got a ladder on it. And it could have worked also, but I'm like, well, hell, this is a weapon that's already on there. Where is that other little white? I'll show it to you guys. Well, what's this say? Engine number 5. Metro Fire Department. We'll paint this one as well. Probably keep the ladder on there. It doesn't do anything. Leave it in white. It's that neon orange stripe that's kind of annoying looking, but. And this is a Matchbox Fire Engine 1982. It's funny, some of these ones from the 80s actually said made in China. But you'll never, it's very hard to find. I don't know if I'm going to say never, but I haven't seen any modern ones made in China. They're either Malaysia, what's the other place? It was on the tip of my tongue. These are made in Malaysia, Thailand. Malaysia, Thailand. The Thailand ones actually sometimes have like a little elephant. I wonder if that's like their little tourist symbol. He's cute. Little Thailand elephant on there. That's usually where the two are made. Mastos are made in China, but some of these older ones are say China on them. So I don't know if they meant, Hong Kong at the time. I'm not really sure. The ones made in China tend to not have interiors, tend to not have detailed interiors. The Mastos, none of them have interiors. And these older ones that I've seen that are made in China don't have interiors. Run that across the edge. If we go over a little bit, it's not a big deal. These are areas that are going to have drippings and dark stuff done to them. The dark arts. No, having weathering stuff on these edges. This is turning out a lot better than I thought it was. And the only reason we're even using the primer is it flows better. Okay, so this is one side primed up. Of course, it looks shiny right now. I probably could have used the vehicle as is. It's just bulletproof glass, but this looks a lot more apocalyptic. It was fun to do. I learned a new skill along the way. Now here's the tricky part. I'm gonna make sure we don't touch any of that black. Or, I just create more work for myself. It's not like it's the end of the world or anything. It's just annoying I got plenty to do. I don't need to create more work for myself. Let's put this on here. White tack. If you don't have any, folks, get some. If you don't have a hot glue gun, get some. Get you some. Now, in this case, with this vehicle being entirely red, color matching these parts to make them look red is probably not the route I'm going to go. I'm probably going to make them steel and corroded and things like that is probably the route I'm going to go, only because there's already too much red on this vehicle. Perfect. I can definitely see at some point I need to do some off-road vehicles. I mean, vehicles that really look off-road, like those buggies and things like that. I certainly have enough of them. Not that they can't be used in an urban environment, but got all those palm trees and you put to work. As I definitely see painting some dinosaurs in the future. Now, the one that I have is just too big. That's really for like almost like 1/35th scale. So, um, they got some rules, and one of the things is like big game hunter, but you know the monsters like breathe fire and shit like that. I'm like, you just regular dinosaurs would be fine, get attacking people. But that's something you gotta go to a store and kind of size them up. Not who knows what the hell you get. Not eBay, but Amazon. Yeah, see, this is taking a lot longer. Not that we're in a hurry, but it's taking a lot longer than our buddy the gas hole. Man, that thing painted in a breeze. It was ridiculous how quick that painted. And I have to say, I started doing it and I was not excited about that vehicle. And I think it's one of my favorite vehicles, how it turned out. I was just so surprised how good it ended up looking that it just exceeded all expectations. Well, I didn't have any expectations. I really didn't have any expectations. And then when it happened, it was like, damn. Oh boy. God damn, she has a lot of stuff to say this morning. Be right back in a moment, folks. All right. All right, so we need to wait for this to dry just a little bit. So now it's a matter of, oh, I missed a spot down here. Let's go ahead and get that. Let's go ahead and get that. Now, this is one of these, it doesn't look like a whole lot right now. And I think when it gets done, if this fire department logo doesn't really create issues for it, and I don't think it will, it's going to get part of the, the whole theme going because it is, a commandeered fire department. What kind of a firefighter would be starting fires? Well, these guys aren't firefighters at all. They just commandeered this thing to give firefighters a bad name. Okay, so that's just still a little wet. So let's go over to the minigun that's had some time to dry. let's go over to the minigun that's had some try to dry. I'm going to go ahead and I want the body of this minigun to be in red. That'll help tie it into it. So this, like this, the cover for it, I want that to be in red, even though it's probably going to be weathered severely to being where it is. But we're gonna have that in red, and then by that time, all this stuff will be dry, and we can do the stuff that we normally do for that. All right, so let's find of all the reds that we have, this one has a little bit of orange in it, so it's probably going to be this or this one. It's not going to be that other one. It's probably the vermilion one. Okay. So we're going to use this right here. And we don't want to use primer. I don't know how you mix paint and primer together. I don't know what it does. I'd rather not find out. It's probably not going to look better. This is spot on. Let's get a squeeze of this black. Not get any on us. Come in over here, a little bit of water. Just to get things to blend a little bit better. We have a good brush here. None of this super glue is alive, so we should be all right. And we're going to do a darker shade of it here. We get some free shadows out of this thing. All right, everything in here. It's like there's this cover on this minigun, and that's what we're going to have that's color matched. So we know that it belonged to this, not like it got salvaged from something else. I have one vehicle that is going to look like it's got pieces parts, but this isn't it. The one that we're calling Wrecked It Ralph. For now, it's not going to be called that. That's a little too late. We could do better than that. All right, let's bring this up. It's a little bit wet. We can kind of paint this a little, what's the word for it? Impressionistic. Because this is just the main body color of red. And there's a little spot on that thing. We're going to leave that thing metallic color. We don't know what it is, but it looks like it's an attachment point for the rest of the body. And then one that goes all the way up. All right, now, the metal parts on here. Where's my 10 bits at? We're not going to use 10 bits, okay? They built this, the backstory of this, they built this, they didn't build it that long ago. So we're going to use the darkest metal that we have, Iron Warriors. Let's scoop some out, put it over there. Hopefully that's enough. You know, the thing is like, well, why do you thin your paint? Because doesn't it apply? You have to put multiple coats. Yes, but what's worse is if you apply it too thick and leave it lumpy. And then you have something that's supposed to be smooth and it doesn't look smooth. That's worse. And then we'll do the edges too, because we want to put corrosion and stuff on those edges. And if your edges are black, you're not going to be able to see it. Okay, and we'll move on to the middle one here. One in the front. Mr. White, the white man. My favorite white man's here. How are you, sir? I went over to when I went over to Mitch's the other day. I got there. Our friend Marty from 3 hours away came up. Actually, the guy who taught me how to play DBA, and he was playing some DBA with Mitch, and they were doing kind of like this impromptu little War of the Roses campaign. And I'm like, when did this come out? When are these campaign rules? Oh, for like 1999. I'm like, what? Some set that was made by somebody. One of the guys named I want to say his name was Martin Smith. Probably one of you guys that's on the, one of you British folks that's on the UK tour. And they were playing that. I'm like, man, I would have already played that if you guys would have told me about it. Can't play DBA now. Sorry. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, celebrating the buckle shoe people getting kicked out of Europe. So it was kind of cool. There was the game was kind of cool. You know, I'm not opposed to people playing DBA. I'm just like, I'm done with it. You know, like I'm tired of wrestling with trying to figure out what rules say and then being wrong, and like, you know, like I got better things to do with my time. I don't know that I have the stomach to play a game that's like, well, we got to find out what it means because we can't make our own decisions. Like, I don't have that in me. And the reason you have to do that is because of the tournament stuff. You know, you don't want to start creating a bunch of, your own interpretations, and then somebody gets here and that's not from your area, and you got to explain everything to them, and you think they think you're pulling a fast one on them, and yeah, I don't want to get into all that. Whereas with this game, if something seems stupid, we're not going to do it that way. Yeah. We dispense with pole position. It's too complicated. Too complicated, too easy to screw up. More too easy to screw up than anything else. It did away with the whole, roll to see who goes first, and then you go clockwise around the table. Too predictable. Not doing that. And the whole when you flip or you spin out, the next guy gets to decide which way you're facing. Too hokey. Everybody always ends up facing a wall. It can never have a positive result. I just dispense with that stuff. I don't think I could go back to the whole, well, I know it's wrong, but this is what the rules say. We have to play it that way. I'm like, I don't have the stomach for that. Freeze warning. I don't know. Rain? Well, today's a good day for it to rain. It's not a work day, so. My daughter wanted to watch a Bond movie, so we watched Casino Royale, which I didn't remember. I'd seen once. I don't remember anything about it. And no, I don't mean the joke one. I mean the one with whatever his name is in it. And man, it was a long movie. And then I started watching Live and Let Die, and I was really disappointed that nobody made a 1/64th or so model of that. What do they call it? Corvinado. I think that's what it is. I think it's called a Corvinado. Really interesting looking, the white pimpmobile, because that would be awesome for this game. Nobody makes it. I'm not going to kit bash one. I mean, it looks like a combination of a lot of things, but that's too big an ask. They make it in 1/43rd scale, which is a damn weird number. That is a weird ass number. 1/43rd. That'd be a cool vehicle, because it's meaty and pimpy, and it's an interesting looking vehicle. We'd be great for this. I mean, I got some other pimpmobile looking things, but I saw that. Man, I want one of those. Certainly somebody makes it. Lost that bet. They probably make something like it. Hell, I probably have things like it, but. Okay, we got a grill here to paint. Whisper's car. Oh yeah, we'll have to stop at 9 because they're going to have the parade on. It's just. That's just too loud and distracting. Looks like something that would be metallic, and so does this. I'm going to paint the bottom of this also metallic. At least in this color anyways. All right. Now I think we're going to make that hatch on the front red. No. What is this up here? Oh, it's nothing. Okay. We'll make this hatch on there in red. And maybe even these little ports on the side in red. Just so we can have some difference of color. Let's do that. Let's do that. I don't like it. I can repaint it. But having this whole big thing look like one piece of sheet metal, it's like, that's a little on the boring side. All right, so we're going to go and we're going to paint that. Over in red. And kind of watered down a little bit at the same time. That way you can see some of the metal through here. Like, they didn't do a good job of priming it. It still shows through. Looks a little disheveled. Same thing with this. Like that as well. And then same thing on the sides. So I'd paint the whole plate, but then it just looks like it's all just sealed up in red, and it just, we don't have to look like it's armored. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Better for you guys there. I think that's better for you guys. This is a vehicle I can already tell you right now. It's going to shine when we start doing the corrosion. Don't look like much now. Okay, and I think we need to bring this all the way up to this. Crap, can't see. Are you using any metallic medium mixed with your paints? Not on this one. I have, and it works great. I didn't on this one. I did do it on one of the other ones. Oh, the gas hole. The gas hole definitely has a mixture of. We made our own metallic brownish a little bit. We wanted it for the color of the tanker. We're great. One of the most apocalyptic looking built vehicles that I have. And was done with it basically in no time. Yeah, this is, that way we still have some of the metal showing on here. Yeah, these especially these gaming workshop ones. These gaming workshop metallics are really, I don't know, vibrant is what I really want to call it, but they work really well. They work really well. If I paint the whole thing red, and the red is like spot on. If I paint everything red, it just looks like, what am I even looking at, you know? No, it looks great. I felt like there was some, I felt like there was some common misconception that it wouldn't work well. And that is just false. It works spectacularly well. Um, you may have to thin it so that everything like paints well, like it flows well. It doesn't get like all like gloppy. That's the only reason I use water, is so you don't get that gloppy, like it's too thick, and then you brush it on an area it's supposed to be smooth, and you get like issues. All right, it's time to bring it up to the next metal on up, which would be, it disappeared. My that Game Workshop color went on strike. It's not Iron Breaker, it's the one in between. It's Lead Belcher. My Lead Belcher just disappeared. Watch me find it right here. Oh, here it is. Iron Breaker. Yeah, I don't know where the hell Lead Belcher went. There's Iron Warriors. I mean, there's only a couple different places that those little round paints can go in. I have a bluish one up here, which is Gray Knight Steel. That's a little too bluish. I don't know where the hell it went to. Oh, here it is. You son of a bitch. lead belcher. I only have one of it for whatever reason. I got 2 Iron Warriors. I've got 2 Iron Breakers, but only 1 lead belcher. Yeah, no, I think it works great. The other thing that works really well is if you take a lighter color like this Iron Breaker, right? Maybe not mithril silver, but if you take this Iron Breaker and mix black into it, you can get this, you know? So, I mean, you could probably get away with having only 1 metallic color, something like Iron Breaker. It works great. And I tried that for the first time. That's not true. I used my one of my first DBA, my second or third DBA army, the who the hell were they? The Armenians. The Armenians I did that on because I wanted a couple different metal shades that weren't. I don't want these knights that were all had this type of armor on them, and everybody looked like it was like the same color repeated over and over again. So I had to mess with it a little bit. But it works great. I mean, this paint is awesome. It's like it thins with water really well, and still maintains flow and smoothness. It doesn't like fall apart. Okay. Just on some of the shiny barrels. And we may have to come back and touch this stuff up because this is going to be in a highly weathered zone. And I'm going to put some of this as well. We're going to thin this so it's almost like a skim coat. I don't have to do this. I kind of like it. Okay, that's good. And the grill here. Okay, and that's all we're going to do until we get to the weathering phase. As far as those colors, how do we do it on time? On time to weather? I think we do. I think we do. So let's get a brush here. God, I'm so terrible about rinsing these and hanging them up, even though the hanger upper is right here. And I've only had this thing for a couple of years. I still have decades of behavior that needs to be modified. Don't we all? I'm probably going to paint. This looks like a light bar here for the emergency lights. We'll revisit that later. Okay, let's get the 3 amigos here. Chocolate brown, U.S. field drab, and Iraqi sand. I can't read that. It's too far away from me. Mr. Scott, you too, man. Thank you. Thank you for the happy thoughts. You too. Hopefully you're not having to work and the members of your family you don't want to see don't show up. You know that there's always some of them. Hopefully it's just one. Every family has an asshole. And if you think your family doesn't have one, then it's you. Just like every group of gamers has somebody who's the asshole. And if you think your group doesn't have one, it's you. You're the one. Oh man, the old chocolate brown here. Let's get most of this off, and we're going to start on the wheels. I'm going to tone these chrome ass things down. Crap, I can't see. It's just too damn small. That's exactly correct. Yep. All right, we're going to have, this is going to be a really dirty minigun down there, but we can't make it that dirty. You still got to be able to tell that the barrels are metallic. These weathering colors just serve me really well. I've been really happy with them in just about every instance. I was going to ask you, where do you get? That's right, you're in Georgia. You're one of those Yankees from Georgia. Man, people from Georgia get really upset if you say that. No, Georgia's actually south of here. Okay, don't want to overdo it. We still need to make sure this thing looks red. And you need to leave room for the other colors. In other words, you can't just cover everything in this color. You still have to do the other ones for it to look right. Okay, let's go to the next color up. U.S. Field Drab. This would be the color of U.S. pants, like those first pants that they landed at Normandy with. It's funny, you look at like the stuff that the U.S. wore in the... Oh, hold on one second. I had a visit from my personal barista. Fuck, that's good. I hope nothing against baristas, but I hope my daughter does not ever do that. It's a good way to have a weirdo. Not that there's anything wrong with that, just, not my type, let's put it that way. I'm unapologetically old school. Well, not that old school, but Oh yeah. Yeah, you know, the whole thing is a lot of these things just don't look great. You got to have kind of like a vision of like, all right, I've worked on things that look like this before, and I know that even though it's all monotone and boring looking, we'll be able to make it look interesting at the end of the day. And you know, only by having done, I don't even know how many, 50, something like that, 40, certainly more than 40 of these. I've kind of figured out, hey, you know, this will work out just fine. We just have to stay at it, right? Only by doing that over and over and over again and been happy with the results have I kind of like don't find myself being held down by fear of not being happy potentially what this looks like. You know, because nobody wants to spend, you know, a couple hours working on something and not be happy with it. You know, so that's the middle tone. But you save a ton of time. I mean, an incredible amount of time just painting it, just going with the body color it already is. Otherwise, you have to strip it, which doesn't take that long, but it is another step. And then you have to get all the little bits of paint out, and you know, and it, you know, this paint does cover up some detail, but it doesn't. I don't, in my opinion, it just doesn't seem like it's worth it. You know, you could be painting 3 other vehicles by the time you're working on one. You know, I've seen some people that do like refurbs and they take the paint off of it and everything. And I've done some paint. You know, there's some vehicles I've taken the paint off of it. It takes, you know, it's extra steps. But then they go and they paint them and they don't do all this line work, which I really like the line work a lot. That's like the most significant thing for me. I love the line work, like making all these little details, like pop them so you can see them 2 and 3 feet away. All right. And it's pretty cool to take something that looks like a damn toy and make it look not like a damn toy. Man, we got a lot of weekend left. And this is the third vehicle we've done. So you know, I'm out building them before I can get a chance to play them all. You know, so if there was something that I created, I'm I'm not making any suggestions here, but if there's something that I've created that I wouldn't mind selling, it'd be these guys. And it's not because I'm not happy with them, it's just because I got more that I know what to do with. Yeah, nobody's offered to buy them. I don't know if I'd even take anybody up on them. But I'm just like, you know, I've never considered like, you know, like my figures. I would never sell my figures. Like I need them. They paint too slow, etc. But like this stuff, you know, the biggest problem with selling these things are like, you know, it's got extra parts that you got to buy. You know, there's got some stuff I made myself. You know, with these armor plates, but some stuff you got to go out and buy if you want the same thing, and that costs you some dough. And now most people at this point would be happy with this. Like, man, it looks pretty good, you know. But the next couple steps are really revolutionary to make this thing look amazing and be able to see it from a distance. You know, not everybody's playing it like this, you know. It's 2 and 3 feet away from you. Okay, the wheels look the weathering on the wheels in this, using this method is, I've always been happy with it. You know, I got an airbrush. I'm sure I'll be airbrushing the weathering. No, I don't have that kind of, you know, I'm not that good with an airbrush. I get by. I'm not terrible with it. I get better at it every time, but I don't use it for painting. I use it for, you know, coating things. All right. So at this point, we are done with the meat and potatoes of it all. All right, let's take some of these brushes off because this is getting top heavy. Let's move these bastards down here. All right. Now, let's find this little spot over here. And I'm going to get pulled in to watch the parade, I'm sure. See what a herd of Yankees looks like. I'm actually going to stop this feed. It's probably a good stopping point. I can't guarantee that I'll come back on and do this weathering live. You guys have seen it before, doing the black lining, put that where it goes, the drippings and all that, but this is really on its way to being completed. And we'll catch you guys later on in this weekend. Thanks for stopping by. Give me a like many of you have done, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.